Tonight, I invite you to step into the shadows of a place steeped in dread and despair, the infamous Topeka State Hospital. For nearly 120 years, this institution stood not as a sanctuary, but as a realm of nightmares where countless souls suffered unimaginable horrors. As we journey through its harrowing history, prepare to uncover the grim truths that lie beneath its haunted facade. Right here, on Scary History. If you like these videos, please take a moment to hit those like and subscribe buttons. It really helps out the channel. In 1872, the Kansas State Insane Asylum, later known as Topeka State Hospital, opened its doors, promising hope and healing. But what began as a beacon of mental health care soon devolved into a sinister abyss. The early 20th century brought the rise of the eugenics movement, a dark chapter in medical history that cast a long shadow over Topeka State Hospital. Under the guise of progress, patients were subjected to forced sterilizations and castrations, their bodies violated without consent. This was no treatment. It was a grotesque experiment in social engineering, driven by the chilling belief that mental illness could be eradicated through selective breeding. Imagine the horror. Thousands of men and women, already vulnerable, stripped of their dignity and autonomy, their bodies forever altered by the hands of those who deemed them unfit. The very walls of the hospital seemed to absorb their anguish, resonating with silent screams of despair. But the terror did not end there. Within the overcrowded and understaffed wards, patients endured daily torment. Reports of beatings, neglect, and isolation painted a grim picture of life inside Topeka State Hospital. The staff, those meant to provide care, often became the perpetrators of cruelty. Picture the dark corridors, the cold, unforgiving rooms where the most vulnerable were abandoned to their fate. The fear wasn't confined to the physical realm. As if the suffering of the living were not enough, the hospital's halls were said to be haunted by restless spirits. Whispers of ghostly apparitions, disembodied voices, and eerie, unexplained phenomena permeated the air. It was believed that the tormented souls of patients who had perished in agony lingered, unable to find peace. These ghost stories, passed down through the years, wove a chilling tapestry of fear around Topeka State Hospital, making it a place of both horror and fascination. Many who dared to visit the abandoned hospital after its closure reported feeling an oppressive presence, a cold chill that seemed to grip their very souls. Some claimed to hear the faint echoes of screams or see fleeting shadows moving in the corners of their vision. Paranormal investigators who explored the site documented numerous instances of strange and unexplained activity, further cementing the hospital's reputation as a place haunted by its tragic past. One particularly chilling account comes from a former employee who spoke of eerie experiences during the night shifts. Doors would slam shut on their own, and whispers seemed to emanate from the empty rooms. One night, the employee saw a figure in a white gown standing at the end of a hallway. As they approached, the figure vanished into thin air. Such stories fueled the belief that Topeka State Hospital was a place where the line between the living and the dead was perilously thin. As time went on, the hospital's condition deteriorated. By the 1960s, overcrowding had reached critical levels, with patients packed into wards like forgotten souls. The facility, originally designed to house a few hundred patients, often held well over 1,000. The staff, overwhelmed and under-resourced, struggled to maintain even the semblance of care. Patients were frequently subjected to physical restraints and chemical sedation to control their behavior. The hospital had become a human warehouse, where treatment gave way to containment. Public outcry began to grow as stories of abuse and neglect surfaced. Investigations revealed appalling conditions: filthy wards, malnourished patients, and rampant mistreatment. The media dubbed it a house of horrors, and pressure mounted for reform. Yet, despite the damning reports, change was slow. The hospital continued to operate under a shroud of secrecy, its grim legacy growing darker with each passing year. The decline of Topeka State Hospital began in the latter half of the 20th century as attitudes toward mental health care started to shift. The introduction of new medications and therapies, along with increased awareness of patients' rights, led to a movement towards deinstitutionalization. By the 1980s, the hospital's population had significantly decreased, and many of its buildings had fallen into disrepair. In 1997, after years of scrutiny and declining use, Topeka State Hospital was officially closed. The closure of the hospital marked the end of an era, but it did not erase the painful memories of those who had suffered within its walls. For years, the abandoned buildings stood as a haunting reminder of the past, their empty corridors echoing with the silence of forgotten voices. Eventually, in 2010, the remaining structures were demolished, making way for new development. Yet, the legacy of Topeka State Hospital lives, serving as a stark reminder of the dangers of dehumanizing and mistreating those in need of care. As we reflect on the haunting history of Topeka State Hospital, we cannot escape the spectral echoes of its past. The anguished cries of those who suffered within its walls seem to reverberate through time, a chilling reminder of the torment and despair that once permeated this institution. The ghostly apparitions and disembodied voices that are said to linger are not just tales of the paranormal, but manifestations of the hospital's dark legacy. They serve as an eerie testament to the cruelty inflicted upon the most vulnerable. The shadows of Topeka State Hospital are a stark warning of the dangers of dehumanization and neglect, urging us to never forget the horrors that unfolded and to strive for a future where compassion and dignity prevail. Even today, the land where Topeka State Hospital once stood holds an air of unease. Some say the spirits have not left, that they still wander the grounds where they endured so much pain. Those who visit the site claim to feel an inexplicable sorrow, as if the earth itself is mourning the past. The haunting legacy of Topeka State Hospital is not easily forgotten. It lingers in the collective memory, a dark chapter in the history of mental health care. Thanks again for watching, and stay scary.